What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a fun video to do. I was called out by Super Steel Steve, who's if you haven't checked out his channel, definitely go check it out. I am very entertained by Super Steel Steve. I just went and checked out his channel last night, watched a whole bunch of stuff, and I am a big fan, Mr. Steve, of your unapologetic style. I mean that in a good way. I think that's great. He says what he thinks, and he stands by it. And I think that's awesome. So very, very entertained by that channel. I was called out by him to do top 5 knives with a twist, or top 5 with a twist. I think, mainly for 2018. I'm taking that as, for me, not necessarily knives that all came out in 2018, because some of these did and some of them didn't, and some of them, one of the knives kind of did and kind of didn't. But anyways, I'm going to go through my list. My arrangement is different than his in terms of which category I did first and which category I did or well, some of the ones in between are different. I don't know if that was part of it or not, but just to set up my own theater of this, that's how I'm going to do it. I'm also going to apologize. I am getting over a cold, and I lost my voice, and then it kind of came back, so I sound kind of bullfroggy, so sorry about that. Let's start off with my tank category for 2018. I'm gonna have to go with the Microtech SOCOM Elite. This thing is beast mode. As far as, size and build quality. I went over this in my video. The 7075 T6 aluminum is a more hardcore grade of aluminum that is going to be more impact resistant and just stronger in general than 6061 T6, if I remember correctly, as much as a double in those fields. Plus, you've got a blade stock of 0.187, maybe 0.19. So think XM24 in blade stock thickness and in overall length. Plus, just the amount of material back here, it's substantial. This is a monster of a knife, and look at the size of the pivot and the hardware on there, the lugs, all that stuff. I've seen these screws backed out, and they are substantial, even though the heads are little. Even like the pocket clip screws are just heavy duty. Plus, I love that you've got this sub frame lock, sort of liner lock, this inset liner lock in here, and you've got a steel lock bar insert on the inside there. I don't know if you can see that, but this thing is just built hardcore. And ask me back in 2012, 2013 what I would have thought a tank was. Dire wears, Praetorian ties. Maybe that was more 2014. I can't remember. But just those mega overbuilt ones. I'm convinced that a knife like the Microtech SOCOM Elite can handle just as much as those ones that just have additional thickness. When it comes down to where the pressure points are, the points that are going to take the most stress on a knife, it's generally going to be the pivot. And knives like this with the setup, with the bracing lugs, putting excess pressure on the frame, I think are really going to take the cake there. Plus, you've got, like I said, this 7075 material that's just awesome. Plus, this thing is just awesome super fun to deploy and use. And at 5.2 ounces, it's one of the most justifiable large knives in terms of carry that I've ever seen. And, I haven't shown this knife for a while. The action is still incredible. Lockup is still incredible. And it is still a free dropper. So that one's absolutely going to take the tank category for me. The second category, got to make room here. Try to space these words out. The next one for me, performer. If I'm being honest, because of the amount of time that I carried it, I'm going to have to give it to the good old regular Manix 2. This knife was an EDC champion of mine for 6 months up until just recently, maybe a little bit longer. Now, I've cleaned this thing up since putting it back in the case, but you can see here, this thing, some of these marks up here are permanent. The edge has definitely taken a beating. The knife overall has been dropped repeatedly. But in terms of the tasks that it has, that have been required of it, and its performance in said tasks, the Manix 2 jumps in and just does the job. Almost anything that I have needed a knife to do. In fact, everything that I have tried to do with this knife, everything I've tried to cut, it has been the most seamless, simple thing. Pulling out the Mannix, and oh, terrible flip, blasphemy! Got a Spidey flick messed up there while I'm talking about how great of a performer it is. But just a wonderful knife, and has been an excellent performer. The lockup has remained solid. No blade play up, down, left, or right. The centering has remained where it was when I got it, which is just slightly off to the left. And owners of Spyderco knives will know, the Mannix 2 especially. Sometimes you get that. That's not really that big of a deal to me. But this is a $130 knife that is absolutely in every way deserving of the title performer for 2018 for me. So absolutely. Next category. This was also an easy one for me in terms of what I was going to pick. This is the Todd Begg Steelcraft Series Quaken, the 3/4 Quaken specifically. Now, the reason that I'm putting this one in the shocker category is because, I have always said on this channel that I just can't bear the thought of my really, really nice, expensive knives being made in really any country other than the United States. I am a big fan of USA manufacturing, and I'm very proud to be able to say that my premium folding knives, are made in the USA. And the idea of having to tell somebody, when somebody would ask me, where's it made? The idea of having to say, it's made in China, just kills me on the inside. But, this knife was given to me as a gift by my good friend, David. And when I went to flip this the first time, the action blew me away. Now, that was on top of my initial impressions, seeing this thing of, oh my gosh, look at the fit and finish here. We've got these seamless carbon fiber inlays, just absolutely beautiful. I mean, talk about a flawless knife. Everything is absolutely flawless. So, I mean, this knife, I'm giving it shocker because at $400, this blew away my expectations for anything else that I have handled in the same price range so far. And it also opened up the gateway for me, and kind of it was kind of the kick that I needed, the shove that I needed to be like, all right, let's give some of these a chance. This was a collaborative effort between Todd Begg Knives and Riot. So for Riot and I've been calling it WE knives. For WE knives, some of the nicer Chinese brands like that, I am going to expand my outlook, and I'm going to try some new things in 2019. In fact, that's also my New Year's resolution in terms of knives, is to try new things. And this knife shocked me enough to give me that bump that I needed. And I'm very appreciative of that. Thank you again, David, for such a wonderful gift. It's going to help me in 2019. It's going to help me look at some things that will, I'm sure, bring me joy and sort of expand my outlook in the knife world. So that's just great. So for the next category, the up until very, very recently, this was an easy pick for me. Now, to keep everybody from going, oh, boo, you sneaky sack of crap, I am going to put a knife in this category. But what I was going to do to just kind of create some hype for the channel was say, actually, I do have a knife for Grail, but it's not here yet. If you wait, just a day or two, tune in, subscribe to my channel, and you'll get to see that knife. Instead of doing that, I am going to put a knife down. But who am I kidding? The fact that I just said that, which it's true, is also doing that exact same thing. So yes, I am trying to create hype with this category. I do have an amazing knife that will be in the Grail category and will be my new Grail when it arrives, coming in, and the video will be done probably Friday. But for the time being, I'm going to put my original Grail, which has been my Grail for a very long time, in that category. This is the Rick Hinder XM18 3.5-inch Gen 6 M390 no choil spanto. I have my full unmilled titanium scale on this guy. I love this knife, and it is a grail, and it will not get used. It's beautiful. It has broken in unbelievably well. You can see here the action is just amazing. We still have perfect centering, though the lighting is actually making it look a little off. You can see there, perfect centering. Take a look at that lockup. It has stayed right there at, gosh, 30%, 25% forever since I've had it. And the action is just unreal. It's very solid. This is a heavy knife at 6.5 ounces, but my God, is it satisfying. This knife, for many reasons, will not get used. Many of the reasons are ironic, though, because I consider this to be one of the most capable folding knives out there. On top of that, it's also really expensive, so that guy is not going to get used. So I'm going to have to put that in Grail. But again, wait for the video, because it's coming. Finally, overall, and many of you are going to know, because you can see me down here reaching for my pocket, you're going to know what I'm going to put in that category. But this knife, I think, is very, very deserving of my overall, favorite knife of 2018. I would love to say that it would be really, really difficult for me to place this knife, to put a knife in this category. I would love to offer up multiple contenders and say that it was a close race, and there were a lot of things. But truthfully, the only one that was even close for overall was the Manix 2. And had I not discovered this knife, for myself, I'm not discovered, but handled it for myself here recently, then the Manix 2 would have won overall, and I would have had to put something else in Performer, or perhaps just say that the Manix 2 got both categories. But truthfully, my favorite overall knife for 2018, far and away, is the new Spyderco Shaman. This knife is just incredible. It has everything that I could want in a folding knife. And for that reason, it is my current EDC and will likely remain my current EDC for a very long time. I do not see anything. I mean, I'll be shocked, if I find something in 2019 that I truthfully think is better. I'm not saying that, it'll never get kicked out of my pocket. But if I find something that is truly better, it'll get kicked out. But I don't think that that's really going to happen. I mean, there'll be other things rotated, but just like the Manix, it'll always find its way back into my pocket. Now, the Manix, it may not be my primary EDC anymore, but I'm still going to carry it. I still think the Manix 2 is one of the best knives out there for everyday carry. But this Shaman, at least for me, and there's still going to be people who prefer the Manix over the Shaman. But for me, the Shaman just has everything. It's got a robust, heavy-duty blade that is thick enough to give me the confidence in terms of tip strength and blade strength overall, but not so thick that you reduce your cutting performance down to a point where it just isn't suitable for everyday cutting tasks. And I think that's excellent. Of course, the thumb hole serves as an excellent means of deployment, both in fidget factor and in actual like opening, just a simple opening. But at the same time, it also keeps anything from getting in your cutting path. With this flat ground blade, if there were thumb studs up here, then you might get something in your cutting path. And I really appreciate that I can put really thick material down here by the initial part of this edge and not worry about it coming in contact with the primary means of deployment. I love that. Despite this little nub here coming in contact with my finger, when I close it, you can see there that I'm not having an issue with that, so I don't care about that at all. The compression lock works just fine. I also absolutely 100% trust it in terms of lockup. It locks up very solidly and makes the most satisfying noise when you lock this thing out. I mean, just listen to this here. Ready? Oh, I love that. If you watch my unboxing video of this, then you'll know my initial reaction, which was very organic, was just, you could hear it in my voice. I was blown away by it. I love it. I love the Contour G10. It creates for amazing ergonomics, very secure grip despite being smooth, but that smoothness also offers this nice in and out of the pocket experience that is just unrivaled, in my opinion. I love the pocket clip. I've always loved these Spyderco style pocket clips. They allow for an easy pull. The smoothness of the scales mixed with this divot here, I kind of pull like this, and I really like that. I really appreciate it. I also like this backspacer down here. I think it looks really nice aesthetically and sort of gives this feeling of durability and just I don't know, it adds this solidity to the knife that I love. Internally, you've got those countersunk, slightly milled out steel liners that do add some heft, when combined with the heavy blade and the backspacer. But I don't know, I like that solid feeling. You get too light in a knife like this, and you kind of lose that sense of durability and hard use, even though that may not be, anything with any real logical pillars backing it. This knife is also, now, don't fret. It may still be on the channel at some point. This is also alleviating my current curiosity for a Strider, because this blade is very similar to a Strider blade. I think a lot of people have called this knife the Strider Co, and I think that's very appropriate. Even having never handled a Strider, it's currently alleviating my need to hunt one of those down and handle it. So that would be a very expensive curiosity, and I don't know that I'm ready to do that yet. So I appreciate that. I also appreciate how easy this thing is to take apart. I did go ahead and take this apart just to see the inside for myself, and find out how easy it was to disassemble and maintain. I love that it's so easy. The pivot came apart so easily. That D-shaped pivot barrel is awesome. I love the bushing setup on the inside. I mean, there's so many things to like about this knife, and it has just been an absolute trooper of an EDC. It went beast mode through Christmas. Just, every package, every toy that we opened for the little cousins and kids and everything. I mean, no problem. Everybody was asking, hey, can I see your knife? Can I see your knife? And you knife nuts know that's the best part of Christmas. It's not necessarily using your own knife, but being the knife guy at Christmas. Though, everybody's got that uncle they really don't feel comfortable passing off their knife to. It's like, does he know that he shouldn't be cutting through wire, and does he know how to close it and open it and stuff like that? But that being said, I think you know what I mean there. So just excellent. I'm also very happy with the finish on this. That stone washing is just beautiful. An S30V, it might be a boring steel and it might be an outdated steel, but it's a trooper. I don't have any issues with it. Just excellent all the way around. Sorry if I'm missing anything there, leaving anything out for the shaman, but I'm happy with my top 5 with a twist here. This was a really, really fun video. I really appreciate the shout out. I'm glad that I'm like, these other knife channels that are truthfully, every time I check and I look at another knife channel, I'm like, these guys are a lot better than me. Their channels are cool, and they've got such like vibrant, unique personalities, and they've got these awesome viewpoints, and they do these cool videos and the stuff that I can never think of. And I'm envious of that, but I'm very appreciative that I'm being called out by some of these other channels, or just recognized by these other channels at all. That means a lot to me. So that's really cool. Thank you again, Super Steel Steve, for calling me out and adding me to this. This was really fun. I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like. And if you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like. So again, check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, then please subscribe to my channel, because there's definitely more coming. Also, check me out on Instagram at metal_complex with the exact same logo as this channel. Thanks again for watching, and have a great day.